Good morning, it's Labor Day. Let's change Labor Day to Moron Day. It's Moron Day in America. It's Moron Day. September the 2nd. I guess it's the first Monday of September. Moron Day. You know, what are we selling labor? What are we celebrating labor for? That was it was one time when labor should be celebrated, but not now. No, no way. We got people in the streets demanding $15 an hour for flipping hamburgers. That's your labor movement. I grew up in a union household, steel workers. I was a steel worker. That was back in the day. Where if anybody says back in the day, I hate that. I hate that expression, back in the day. But back in that period, labor was a very, very honorable thing to be doing. But it's not honorable anymore. I mean, it's still honorable, actually, for those people that do it. But it doesn't have the same sort of dignity. Honor does not have the same dignity that it once had. Just like horses don't have the same dignity. Horses were a dignified animal until the train and the horse and the horseless carriage came along and took away the dignity of the horse. Now horses are pets. They have no more dignity. The labor movement has no dignity left. Very little. You're trying to unionize fast food workers to make $15 an hour. You know, a hamburger flipper job is for kids so that you can learn how to become a worker, so that you can learn how to show up on time. If you can't show up on time, they have to get rid of you. And then it dawns on you, I guess I better have to show up on time. So then you get another job at some hamburger place and then you show up on time. So you learn that lesson. You got to show up on time. You have to learn how to get along with your fellow employees and management and customers and all that kind of stuff. We're going to strive for 15 bucks an hour, labor. The people, united, will never be defeated. Hamburgers, workers, 15 bucks an hour. Come on, man. And people are talking about that. But these people, they want to have families. Well, go learn a skill and go get a family. Learn a skill. Learn how to take care of a family. Don't expect a labor movement to come along and rescue your sorry ass. Hamburger flipper jobs are for kids so they can learn how to show up on time. And once they learn how to show up on time, they go and take their little piece of paper, their recommendation from the hamburger flipper boss. It says, yeah, this kid showed up on time. He's a good worker. He got along good with his fellow employees, got along good with me. I recommend him. So then the guy goes and gets a job that's minimum wage plus 50 cents or $1 an hour. And then you start moving up. And also the hamburger flipper jobs. Not every job at McDonald's is a hamburger flipper. Some of the managers make $60,000 a year. There was a woman in Albuquerque, New Mexico, who was working at a place called Panda, which is basically a Chinese place where they don't flip burgers. They put rice in a wok and make rice dishes. 40-something thousand a year. So just because you're a hamburger flipper doesn't mean that you can't move up in the ranks. But when you think that just because you're flipping a hamburger that you, as a person, united, will never be defeated, that you deserve 15 bucks an hour, what you deserve is to get fired for thinking such a thing. Because you have to have basic intelligence to work anywhere. If you think you're worth $15 an hour because you can flip a piece of meat, there's something wrong with you. My father and the guys, they had to fight for what they got. But they weren't flipping hamburgers. They were producing copper. Mining, milling, and smelting copper. Every time you flip a switch, you're using the labor of the people that from the mining business. Miners. Every time you go to the doctor to have your arteries cleaned out, you're experiencing the work of the Hamburger Flippers. Now that's getting a little bit off subject, obviously. But there is dignified work and there's work that's not so dignified. Now I'm not saying it's not dignified to be a hamburger flipper. At least you're not selling drugs on the street. But if I was a person in this country who had a lot of money and I was going to make widgets, I was going to make Swiss Army knives, make American Army knives. They have little scissors, stuff like that, a little toothpick. Make American knives, American labor. Who are you going to get to do that? If it costs $15 an hour to pay somebody to flip a hamburger, how much is it going to cost to have somebody make a knife? So the person, oh, well, I want, America, the people united shall never be defeated. Those people are going to start a knife factory. How are they going to do that? Why would anybody start a knife factory in the U.S. when you can go to China and buy them and not have to worry about anything? Take $1 million and see how many knives you can buy in China. And you don't have to get cheap knives. You can specify what kind of steel you want. You can specify, you can say, if the scissors don't work as good as the Swiss Army knife, we're not going to pay. They got to work. Everything's got to work. It's got to be, you have to make a knife that's as good as a Swiss Army knife, or we're not going to give you $1 million. They'd do it. Because they want your business. But how are you going to make American Army knives in the United States of America? $1 million won't even buy you a piece of property to put up a factory. Well, it would. Depends on where you want to put your factory. You got to build a factory, or you got to buy a building. You got to buy all the tools. You got to buy all the equipment. Then you got to pay the workers. The United States cranks out lawyers like freaking candy bars. One of the workers, oh, my back, I was making the little thing and my back hurts. Oh, well, you better take a couple of weeks off and take a look at that because, and here's some disability benefits while you're taking your time off to get well so you can come back to work. Somebody else cuts their finger, oh, wah. So now what you have, instead of a factory that produces knives, you have a factory that produces people that take advantage of the system. I wouldn't build a factory in the United States of America now for anything. Look at the quality of workers in America. Qualities of workers in America when my dad was young. That's the kind of people you want. You want people that were trained by, like my dad. My dad, you know the one thing that he was very big on? Punctuality. He always said, you go to work, when you leave for work, you leave 15 minutes, you leave so you've got at least 15 minutes before, in case you have a flat. I mean, that was the mentality of my dad. You leave so that if you have a flat, you can fix your flat and still show up on time. This is a depressing holiday, Labor Day. because the dignity of work is not here anymore. To me, people would rather have money handed to them than go out and work, which is understandable. I mean, you know, who wouldn't rather have their mom and dad give them food than they have to go out and get a job and get it themselves? So for all you workers out there that are real workers, happy Labor Day. And you other people, well, you wouldn't click on a video that has the word labor in it anyway, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm Ella Rodney. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.